Okay, so this is a test run for my tutorials, and first we're going to create a new project. So you open up your Unreal, and then go to Games, and then we will make let's do something in first person. So project name, tutorial projects. We're gonna use Blueprint mainly. Normally I make VR projects, but I'm gonna make a first person project. Just it makes testing easier when I'm trying to demonstrate some of these principles in game design, because a lot of you're gonna use the same mechanics a lot of the time, and whether it's first person, third person, VR. I mean, there's a lot of differences too, but some are the same. So sometimes it will give you a template already to start with, but if you want to start from scratch, go to new level and then pick one. You can do open world, you can do basic. Let's just do basic. So this just gives me like just a platform, a plane to work on. The open world would give you a lot more space, but we'll keep it simple. So this is our project. This is the content drawer. This is where all your folders are. This is where you're going to create things and pull things from. This is the outliner, which shows all the objects that are actually in your scene at the moment. And right now we have lighting, we have the sky and the fog and the atmosphere and all that. So to start, we're going to create a folder. So go to your content drawer. And create a folder, a new folder. How I did that, sorry I'm going too fast, is I right click in this window and then I go to new folder. And I'm going to name it well, for now I'm gonna just put actors. It's pretty generic, but it's what we're gonna be making. So actors are objects that you're gonna, or blueprints that you're gonna be placing in the scene. They're objects that you're usually going to add mechanics to. So let's go ahead and do that. See, actors is an object that can be placed or spawned in the worlds. So I don't really have a set plan, but just going over the basics. So it's going to be a pretty generic title. But, you know, Actor 1 Blueprint. Alright, and click on that. And so this is going to bring up I'm not exactly sure what they call this, but I call it the blueprint window, but I guess this is the view part, and then you have the event graph. So this is where you would do your blueprinting, right here on this tab. And then this is where you would actually see the objects. This is where it holds all your variables. This holds all your events. And then this holds all the objects in the scene. And then these are your like preferences. And then here are some events that you can use on each of the objects. So let's go ahead and create an object. I like to do a scene first, that way it can kind of offset the object if I mean, it's just easier to move in place without losing the integrity of, you know, having the 0, 0, 0 location for the actor. Let's just put a simple object in there for now. So this is just a simple cube. I added it in by clicking on add and then added cube. If you want to add your own custom mesh, I'll show you how to do that too. Go ahead and compile, save. So now I have an actor here and I can bring it into the scene. So there's our actor. Doesn't do anything yet. Now what do I want it to do? That's the question. So we can just go over some basics of what I can do with it. Alright, so I probably want, do you want physics on the cube? If you want physics, you would simulate physics. And then okay, and then do you want gravity on it? Because if you want it to fall, you leave this checked, but if you don't want it to and you want it to just float, you would uncheck that. Let's test this. So I took off gravity, but it simulates physics. So if I touch it with something else, it's gonna like float off into space. Let's test that. So how I'm going to test that is I'm going to go over here in the outliner while it's in play. And I'm going to grab the second actor. I'm going to move its location or position in real time so that it hits the other actor. I'm going in the wrong direction. There we go. See? So it hit each other, and so now they're flying off. They don't have gravity on them, so they're just kind of floating as if they're like on a planet that doesn't have any gravity. So if I wanted gravity on it, I would hit that. I'd hit save, compile, play, and now they fall to the ground. Sometimes they might fall through the ground, and that would be because the ground does not have you know, you can clip it, so you have to add a collision to it. These services that come with the template usually already have that capability. But let's test that real quick. Let's say I just bring in a random object in here. A cube. This is this is a new cube. This is not my actor cube. This is just like a generic cube. that just pulled into the scene. We can change the color on it so we don't get confused. Let's save this map. I try to save it, and now it wants me to save the scene. So we're going to save this as tutorial 1 scene. I actually probably want to create a folder, a scene folder, to save it in. Alright, so it looks like that actually already has a collision on it. Let's say we don't want a collision on this, but we want it to go through the floor. We could just go to normally I'd be clicking on the actor itself and changing this in the the prefab, but right now I'm actually changing the object in the scene and using the preferences in the scene, because I'm going to end up deleting this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This is just temporary, just to show you. So where is it? I'm always losing it. Here it is. Okay, sorry. So right here we decide what kind of collision we want. So if we want no collision, like we don't want anything to be able to collide with it, then we hit no collision. Save that, play. Now things go right through it. You can, there's like different collision preferences. So, for instance, I could block everything, or I could only block like block the player, or and then I could let all the objects overlap, or I could only block objects and then let the player overlap. There's a bunch of different preferences that you could pick depending on like what you needed it for. So go ahead and delete this object. I don't need it. So we have two physics objects. Let's see if we can interact with them. I think when you do first person, they automatically have the settings where you can move. Yeah, so using WADS, you can move around. It's already preset in there. So yeah, if I run into them, they interact. Alright, so now let's do a blueprint. Let's add a box collision. So go to add, go to box collision. Make that big enough to cover up the space of your object. we're going to make it visible so you can see it. We're just going to uncheck hidden in game so that it's not hidden in game. So you can actually see the box collision, and I'll show you what that looks like. See? You can see the box collision. Okay, so go to event graph, click on your box collision. Alright, now these are some events that could happen. So like, let's say if we click on it, if this box is clicked, then something's gonna happen. So we gotta figure out, we gotta decide what we want to happen. So if you right click in this window, a bunch of actions will come up. And these are a bunch of options that you could pick from. You kind of have an idea of what you want to do, and you can just type it in and it'll pull it up for you and you can find it. If you want more options, you can uncheck that. So, what do we want to do? Maybe I want the component to move. So I just typed in move component and it's going to pull up move component too. So for this one, when I click on it, it's going to move to a spot of my choosing. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this on click to move. And then it needs to know what component we're moving. So I'm going to drag cube over here, and then I'm going to attach it. And then now I need to know what location it's going to be moving to. I need to decide what that is. I say let's get its original position and then add like some space or some space on it. Can't think right now. Okay, basically what we're going to do is we're going to find out what its original location is. So find world location. Or we're just put in world location. I'm pretty sure it's get world location. And then we're gonna click on this little yellow guy, drag it over, and then click on add, type in add. Go to operators, add an add. So this is going to actually go ahead. Wait, let's do this. So what you do, I want you to unhook that if you hooked it up, and how you do that is you just have to remember. You hit Alt and you click on the line like that, and then it'll disconnect it. Okay, so right click on this yellow thing and go to split struct. That way it like I can't talk right now. It unfolds it to where you see all of the options. So it separates them. So it's not just one vector. It's not a vector 3. It's now 3 different floats for X, Y, and Z. So that way we can just affect one of them instead of all of them. So if I wanted to move like on the y-axis, say I just wanted to move like 10 spots. So now what it's going to do is it's going to get this location, wherever this is, and then it's going to move it here. But it's going to do it every time I click on it. So it's going to move it 10 spots on the Y. Let's just test it. It's not working. Let's figure out why. I need a timeline. So it's add timeline. Click on the timeline, add a track, go to add floats, then right click, add key, right click again, add another key, move that up here. Save that. Alright, let's test it. So, I'm not sure why the click wasn't working, but the begin overlap does work, so this does work. This part works. The click did not work. We'll figure it out why. But for now, we're going to do begin overlap. So whenever my player overlaps those boxes, it will move. And first, we're going to make sure that it only happens when our player overlaps. So how we do that is we're going to on play begin, we are going to get actor class. We're going to select the name of the player. Let's make sure we know which one that is. AP first person character. And then you're going to go to set actor. So actually we're going to add a variable and then you're going to change it to actor. And you change over here, you drag it over here and you go to set. So drag it here, click on set, and connect these. And then you're going to go to cast to BP, first person character, and then connect that, and then now drag this over here. So you're going to copy this, drag it here, connect those, go to other actor, connect that to object, and then connect that to the timeline. So now whenever I overlap those boxes, it moves. To whatever spot I told it to. Actually, I should hook these up more. So, unsplit this struct and then hook these up. Now let's try it. Now, every time I run into it, it's going to move like 10 spots. Well, now it's not doing it. Huh. Wonder why that is. So, let's make this box bigger. And maybe making the collision box bigger so that I run into it sooner. And then I want to make the distance longer so that it's more obvious. So turn it to 20. So now I'm gonna, when I overlap those trigger boxes or collision boxes, it triggers that event. For some reason it only does it once. I don't even have it set to only once. Let's figure this out. So I think it's because whenever it begins the overlap, we need to like how it doesn't explain it. Weird. Alright, I think why is we need to actually separate the event from this and turn it into an switch variable. So on end overlap, just right here, click on that. Whenever it stops, right, go ahead and unhook this using Alt. Drag this over. This is going to be as an event. So drag this and go to custom events. We're going to name this move 10 or 20 spots. Alright, now click on it, go to rename and copy the name, and then right click over here and then paste it in, and it'll just automatically come up, and then click on it. This is the event that will happen so now we need to go over to add and we're going to add an integer, and we're going to call it move. Change the variable to an int. Okay, now right click in the window and go to switch. Switch on int. We'll just put this on update for now. And then you're going to add in some pens. We're going to make this one. And then I want you to drag, move, and go to set. And then connect those. And this one's going to be set to 0. Actually, this one's going to be set to 1. And this one's going to be set to 0. So what this does is whenever this happens, like when it's overlapped by the character, it's going to set this integer to 1. When this integer is set to 1, this is event tick, which means everything that happens after event tick is constantly updated, so it's constantly running this script. We don't want things on tick, but we're just doing this for testing because it slows down the game. But we're gonna just get it. So you drag this over and hit get, and then connect that, and then so now if it changes this, it's going to read it from here, and it's going to switch on the actions and then do whatever event follows. We're just going to test. Looks like it never stops. Now that I did that, now, oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. It's never ending. we can actually see what's going on. We can actually watch the script while it's playing. So just go over here and click on one of the actors. But we could see what's running. So it's in here saying 0. So there's got to be a way to switch it. And right now, for some reason, it's when I'm ending the overlap. Oh, wait. Maybe that's why. So I had overlap component instead of other actor. Let's try it again. Yeah. So it stopped, and then starts again. Wait, does it? Yeah. Yeah, so that worked.